Hi everybody, welcome to another segment on tack cleaning. What we're going to address now is some really moldy, grungy tack that has been sitting up doing nothing for a while. You can see it's got lots of green on it, yeah, we need to take care of this. So we're going to start with getting this prepped. One thing about mold, mildew, it does have spores. So before I get into cleaning this, I'm going to put on some gloves and I'm going to put on my mask so that I don't inhale a bunch of these spores as I remove them off of the tack. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I want to remove the mold from the tack. So I've got a towel, slightly damp, and I'm just going to rub it and try to knock some of the grunge off of it, okay? So I'm getting underneath. I'm going to unbuckle the buckles on the sides and wipe the mold off of there. Wipe the mold off of here. And, you know, unbuckle. There you go. Go ahead and unbuckle things so you can get into the holes around the buckles, because you can always put it back together. I leave them unbuckled for when I clean it. A lot of dust on this. My thumbnail makes a good tool. You could use a toothbrush, anything to kind of get the crud out of the stitching. Yeah, good rub. Both sides of the leather. I'm using getting both sides of the leather here. And these reins are going to take a little time. I'm probably going to have to find a brush for these. Okay, I could not find an old toothbrush, so I'm just going to have to be very meticulous. See, mold gets everywhere. It gets like into these cracks, and use my fingernails and just go through and wipe all this down. So here's what it looks like before and after. Hopefully you can kind of see. So I'm going to get these all cleaned up, and then we're going to get on to restoring the leather. Okay, I did manage to find a toothbrush. Was in with my boot cleaning stuff, so it's sort of stained black. But you can see I can get into all these little nooks and crannies where there's mold and built up soap and that kind of stuff. So I'm getting into there. You can see there's still some mold on here in the stitching. You know, it takes a little bit of time, and we can just wipe the rest of it off. Now that I have a lot of the mold off of the tack, I want to try and kill it so it doesn't grow right back. So I'm going to take some white vinegar and put it on a towel. I left the gloves on because vinegar is acidic. It's also can be kind of drying to the leather, so we're going to end up conditioning this when we're done cleaning it. But the vinegar, because it's acidic, it makes for a less habitable environment for mold to grow. So we're just going to wipe everything down. All right, my rag's getting a little dry. I'm going to add some more vinegar to it. In case you're wondering why I have vinegar in a spray bottle, We use it for lots of different things around the barn, but it works great to spray on wraps. If you have a horse that likes to chew their wraps, it kind of makes the material taste a little gross, so it kind of helps deter some horses. Okie doke. So this looks a ton better. As you can see, this is a ton better. You don't see all the mold on it. All right, so now we're gonna clean and condition. In between each one of these steps, I'm using a fresh rag. First of all, if I don't want to use the moldy rag to put the vinegar on because I'm trying to get rid of the mold. And now that I've used the vinegar rag, I don't want to use the harshness of the vinegar on it as I'm trying to clean and condition. So when I go through these next steps, I'm using fresh water and a fresh towel. So go ahead and you're going to want to have some sort of saddle soap, whether it's a glycerin bar, whether it's a commercial soap. I mean, there's tons of different kinds out here. This is one I like. So it comes in a tin. It lasts a long time, or not tin, plastic, but lasts a long time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little sponge and make sure all the water's wrung out. And I'm going to rub it in the soap, get it a little sudsy, and then I'm going to soap up my leather. So the idea of soap is for everything. Soap works because it's a surfactant. It cuts through surface tension of water and gives you the ability to lift dirt away. So when you want to clean, suds are important. Suds are what lift dirt away. Okay? And also, while you're cleaning your tack, you know, get the undersides really well. You know, like this nose band had some, you know, sweat buildup right here from being over a horse's nose. All right. Check and make sure the stitching is good. When you're doing a deep clean, you want to make sure you get, you know, when you don't have the bit on, you want to make sure you get these areas that are high stress areas. Another way, check the stitching here, make sure your hooks aren't coming loose. As you're doing here, make sure your buckles aren't coming loose. And goodness, you really don't want your bridle to fall apart during the middle of a ride. Okay, so I'm going to rinse my sponge. I just got it wet, wring it out. Get soapy again, and I'll finish with the reins. I fold the sponge over both sides of the straps, and then I can really scrub. There's a little bit of dirt and sweat and dander buildup on the underside of the reins. It's a common place to find that. Taking the time to get around the laces. Now I notice as I'm inspecting my tack that the laces are coming undone on this one. That horse probably chewed on them, or it looks like it, well, no, there's chew marks. So that's why you don't want to let your horse chew on your tack, as they can ruin it. Okay, need a little more soap. You'll find that some soap suds more than others. This soap doesn't sud a lot, but it's doing enough to, I mean, you can't really tell, or you can. You look at the sponge, it's dirty, and I mean, I've already cleaned this a couple times. I'm still getting that much dirt off. Uh-oh. All right, so now that I've made everything kind of sudsy, I'm going to get a clean towel. And I'm going to wipe everything off. Now you have to remember that leather is skin, okay? So if you think about, like if you're in a swimming pool or a bath for a long time, you're soaking in the water, how your skin gets sort of dried up and shriveled up. All right, that's kind of what happens to leather in a certain way if you don't take care of it and dry it off a little bit after you've used your soap and water. Okay, sometimes the soap gets stuck in the laces. You have to kind of pay a little attention in there. And we'll wipe everything else off. If you've got suds that get stuck in a crease, like this is a padded brow band, and soap kind of gets stuck in there, you want to try to get it out. There. Oh my, we're looking so much better. Okay. I miss this piece. So, it's really dry. I could tell, not because it was super dirty, it was just really dry. You know, so now that, and we'll right off. All right. So now leather is clean, it's dry, so now it's time to condition. So since we used vinegar on it, if I had some oil, I might put a little bit of neatswood oil on it. I do not have any neatswood oil. I thought I did, but the container was empty. But you can use any kind of leather balsam or leather conditioner. I'm going to use this kind. I'm going to put some of this leather conditioner on a towel, massage it in. So if you think of how skin and leather, they're the same thing, leather is skin. This would be the equivalent to say of moisturizing your skin after a shower. You're putting oils back into the leather so that it stays supple. You don't want it to crack. You don't want it to break. You want to keep it soft and supple and pliable, and then that's what makes it last a long time. So now that I'm cleaning this and conditioning this, because I went over it with the vinegar, hopefully I killed a lot of the mold and mildew spores that were living on these pieces of leather. We won't know, you know, until time goes by how well the job I did, whether it starts to grow back or not. Now when my rag gets sort of dry, I just go get another little handful of the leather balsam. You know, it's not very much. It's maybe half a tablespoon. It's not very much that I'm putting on there, because I have found glopping a bunch on doesn't really do a bunch, you know, at once. Doesn't do much good. It just gets greasy, because leather can only absorb so much at a time. All right, the bridle looks fantastic. So you can look at it now. You can see there's like minimal mold. There's, you know, that's the stitching there. Does not look like the same bridle that we started out with. I'm going to condition the reins as well. I'm just putting a little elbow grease behind it. Okay, look at the reins now. Oh, they look beautiful. Look like new leather. So if you take the time, you can make tack that you thought, oh my God, this is ruined, I'm gonna have to throw it away. You can make it into functional tack again. I mean, this bridle is a practice bridle. This isn't a show bridle. But right now, you know, if I had to go to a little show with one of my lesson horses or something, this bridle would be just fine. it looks really clean. And then one little thing I'm going to show you guys is these little holes as you clean, they can get filled with soap. So if you take the buckle and push it through each hole, you're going to clean all the soap out. I don't know if you can see here, you can see there's soap in these holes. So you take the buckle, put the little tongue of the buckle through the holes, like that, and just go up. My groom uses like a little nail, a little horseshoe nail or something to poke through. I don't have anything pokey, but then it makes the holes look brand new again. All right, so that's my little video on reconditioning old moldy leather. Hope you find it useful, and I'll talk to you again soon.
And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.